Thank you for attending the judge orientation for Trial by Combat 2021. This is the one-on-one college mock trial national championship tournament. It's co-hosted by the Drexel University Thomas R. Klein School of Law. I'm here with my co-host, Phil Pasquarello.
Hey, everyone. Looking forward to seeing you next week.
And I'm Justin Bernstein. I'm a professor at the UCLA School of Law, the other co-host for this competition. This is our fourth year holding the event, our second year hosting it virtually, and hopefully our last year hosting it virtually. So I want to give you an overview of what the competition is and what you'll be doing. This competition invites the 16 best college competitors among the 6,000 who compete each year across the country. And to give you an idea about the quality of these students, we made 16 invitations only, and those 16 students are here. This competition is harder than others because instead of getting months to prepare the case, they get 24 hours. You'll be judging them on Saturday and Sunday. They'll have gotten the case Friday morning.
So there are three things that we want to accomplish on this video. First, to give you a sense of how judging is going to work for this competition. Second, how the tournament itself works. It is a little bit unique from some other tournaments that you might have judged. And third, how our scoring system works and the ballots that you're going to be filling out. So first, how to judge. We ask that all of our judges use a desktop or a laptop. And the reason for that is there's certain functionality that's available via Zoom on a desktop or laptop that may not be available, say, on your phone. If you want to use an iPad or tablet, that's okay. But please, if possible, use a desktop or laptop. It'll be better for your viewing. It's going to be the same Zoom link for every single round that you judge. So if you're judging multiple rounds, you can sign on to the same link, and there'll be instructions as to how to sign in. You'll see your name, and you'll see which room you're to sign into to judge. And there'll be someone there to give you instructions if you're having a hard time getting into your courtroom. So during the trial, our scoring judges, which most of you who are watching this will be scoring judges, we ask that you mute your audio and your video during the trial. The people that are watching the trial should only see the advocates, the witness, and the judge. And then obviously at the end of the trial, you'll turn on your video and your audio for some very, very, very brief comments. Presiding judges, your video will always be on, and your audio will be muted except when ruling on objections. Reason for that is we don't want there to be feedback or sound coming from the presiding judges, and that can mess with some of the Zoom functionality. So by now, most of us are familiar with some of the functionality on Zoom, and there are a couple kind of strong recommendations that we make as to how to watch this trial to make it best for your viewing experience. During speeches, opening statements, closing arguments, we ask that you use speaker view, which is the view where the person speaking is the person you can see kind of blown up on screen for obvious reason. For everything else, so examinations of witnesses, motions, objection arguments, things like that, use gallery view where you can kind of see the four boxes of the two advocates, the witness, and the judge on the screen. And then when exhibits or things like that are being displayed, we recommend that you set your Zoom to side-by-side mode so you can see the exhibits blown up on one side of your screen and the advocate and the advocates and the witness on the other side of the screen as they're discussing the exhibit that they're showing you.
So now I'm going to talk about how the competition works. So as I mentioned, the students get the case 24 hours before the first trial, and the trials are really short to your benefit. So the students will each be putting on one witness per side. They will start the trial with an opening statement from each side. They'll have the plaintiff witness who will have direct and cross-examination, the defense witness, direct and cross-examination, and then closing arguments. Each lawyer has a second chair who's going to help them display the exhibits on screen. And like I said, the trials are really quick, so we'd ask that you not take any breaks unless you need a break. The students can't ask for a recess for closing argument or things like that. The only rule issue we want to highlight is invention of fact. On direct examination, they are not allowed to invent facts outside the case. So on cross, you may hear an attorney asking a witness, hey, you didn't say this in your deposition, but you said it here in court. And you might think, well, wait a second, a witness doesn't have to include all information in deposition. They're just answering questions. This is a cross-examiner's way of pointing out that the directing pair, the attorney and witness, have made up information they should not have made up. So you should not hear anything on direct examination that is not part of a witness's deposition or a document they created or familiar with. However, on cross-examination, if an attorney asks a question to which the deposition is silent and the witness gives a responsive answer, they can make up whatever they want to because the attorney has invited, in fact, the attorney has required the witness to invent facts. So again, if the statement made on direct is outside the depo, that should result in somebody being scored down. But if it's on cross-examination, it's totally fair game. This year's case is civil. You don't need to read the case beforehand, but we'll send every judge a link on Friday. So that way, once the students have gotten the case, if you want to peruse it, you're absolutely welcome to. A couple notes for our presiding judges. The federal rules of evidence apply. This is a federal case, so they'd apply anyway. We'd ask you let the students argue a little more than they might get to in real life, because one of the things you'll be evaluating is the quality of their objection arguments. So while they probably don't need a lot of argument on leading objections or calls for a narrative, if it's a meatier, more substantive issue, let them argue a little bit. The scope of cross-examination is not limited to direct. That is, because witnesses can't be recalled, they're free to cross-examine on anything that would otherwise be admissible. They are allowed to make a motion to strike evidence that's been excluded. They can make a motion under Rule 615 to constructively sequester a witness, if that's appropriate, but they can't make other motions. They can't make motion for recess. They can't make a motion for sanctions. They can't make a motion to dismiss. And again, only take a recess if you want or need a break, not if the students request one. So we'll turn finally to our scoring system. We like to call this the easiest scoring system there is. You're going to get an email. The same email that's going to contain your link to the Zoom is also going to contain your link to the ballot. You can open that and you'll get the ballot, which will look something like this. And so as you can see, it's a web page, and you'll fill in your name. Then you'll choose which trial you're judging. These are the attorneys' names from last year. And so I'll put in my name. Let's assume I'm judging this trial. And I click simply who's better at each part of trial. Right? Notice it won't let me choose both, right? I can't have a tie. And this down here requires me to choose at least one per row. And so I choose who's better at each area of trial. If I'd like, it's optional, but I can include feedback for the attorney on each side of the case. I then score the witnesses. You can see this is a criminal case from last year, but this year will be civil. And I'm scoring them on three criteria: how real they are, how engaging they are, and how credible they are. Again, I can give feedback for those witnesses. Their second chairs, we're going to give an award for who does the best job of using the technology displaying exhibits. You can pick who is better. And if you have any comments for us, you're welcome to include them there. So we'll go back to the slides. So as you're filling those out, make sure you're evaluating their performance, not their merits. So it's not a question of which side had better facts. You might think that the plaintiff wins or the defense wins on the merits. It's which advocate was better, which witness was better. We want you to score candidly, no pity points. What I mean by that is if you think that one side wins all 7 categories or 6 out of 7, please mark it accordingly. Don't keep it artificially close, because margin of victory is really important in determining who advances. If you have any technical difficulties with the ballot, usually that's resolved simply by refreshing your webpage. If you have other issues, please contact us. At the end of the trial, submit your ballots. Just hit submit at the bottom of that page. We'll let you know from your bailiff in the room when all the ballots are in. And once they are, it usually takes a couple minutes. We'd ask that you then begin comments. Because students won't be repeating those roles, each student will be doing the role of plaintiff attorney or defense witness exactly once in our preliminary rounds. We'd ask that you keep the comments short, since they won't be able to incorporate them again. And our suggestion is pick your favorite moment of trial and say, hey, what was the best thing that the plaintiff's attorney did? What was the best thing the defense attorney did? We ask each judge to keep the comments to that about a minute. So that way we keep the trials moving, make sure the students have time for lunch, because the rounds go quickly.
So normally, if we were in person doing this judge presentation, this would be the point in time where you ask questions. And so given that we're recording this and allowing our judges to view it at their convenience, if you do have any questions, I'll be your point person. You can send me an email at the email listed on the screen there, and I will get back to you as soon as I can and get you an answer to your question. And finally, we just want to thank everyone who volunteered to judge. It obviously goes without saying that we couldn't do this uh, without your volunteering and without your help. And we're really excited to see all of you virtually, hopefully for the last time virtually next week.
Thanks so much.